All right, everybody. Excited to be here on a Friday afternoon. This is This Pink Cloud, if you're tuning in, and it is Season 2, Episode 28. Yay. Hey, so excited to have these ladies in the house. I am DJ Kelly Reverb, by the way, if you didn't know. This would be Stephanie Ann Crawford. Or Stephanie Renee Crawford. Sorry.
Stephanie Crawford's fine.
Stephanie Crawford.
Yeah.
I have to go full name, yeah. And your social security number is, right? And then Ainsley Chapman. How many times do people mess up their name?
Oh, every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like my wife's name is Waverly.
Oh, yeah.
And it always gets to be Beverly.
Yeah.
Like, so when we go to Chick-fil-A, I'm like, okay, say your name, babe. And then by the time it gets to the end of the line, it's Beverly.
Yeah, I get my last name before I got married was David, and so I get a lot of mail addressed to Mr. David Ainsley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I get the whole Mrs. Kelly Partridge.
Oh, so, yeah. So you get it.
Yeah, so I feel you. But they are with Magdalen House, a.k.a. Maggie's House, some people call it. But we are going to talk to them here in just a second. Excited to have them on the show. Real quick, I want to hit our sponsor, which is summersky.us. If you look right above my head, there is the web address and the phone number, which is 888-857-8857. Once again, that is summersky.us, 888-857-8857. I went there. It worked for me. I'm over a year plus sober. Yay. And a year. And let me look at my app. I'm like, and 16 days.
Woohoo.
Yay. So that, and also want to plug the YouTube channel. If you go to thispinkcloud.com, that'll take you to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe or you're a bad person. And then also we'll, I guess do you have the shirts, Brett? You have those ready? By the way, Brett is my new favorite board op. He is like always on point and somewhat of a genius, people might say. But anyway, there's the Magic Pill shirt, and then we also have the chair shirt, the old I went to rehab and all I got was my life back, and then the standard This Pink Cloud shirt. All those are actually available at djkellyreverb.com/shop. All the proceeds go to benefit the show, so if you dig the show, support. And other than that, y'all have a lot of exciting stuff. I know you guys are like, oh, this is like old hat to you, except it's live and there's no editing, but y'all both have a webcast or a podcast y'all do, excuse me.
Yes.
There's like, I call mine a digital show. It's all fancy because we do the cameras and everything. But what is, if people want to tune into your podcast, what is that address? I want to get that out there.
Yeah, you just search the Magdalen House podcast on anywhere you listen to podcasts. So we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere. And we have different series. Our series that comes out on every Wednesday is Recovered, Interviews with Alcoholic Women.
Okay.
So I get the pleasure of interviewing alcoholic women in recovery, and they get to share their story and their hope and their experience.
Cool.
We also have Hope for the Family, which I get to interview family members, which is a lot of fun to get to hear their side and their perspective.
I like that. I love to hear that because, we always being in the rooms, as you say, we get to hear everybody's story, but we don't really get to hear the Al-Anon side of things,
Yeah.
So.
And we want to give hope to the family members as well. We have a great family support group that meets at the Magdalen House, and so we want to let the families know that they can recover as well.
Right. I got you. You would have edited that out, right?
I totally would have edited that out. See?
But it's all
so
good.
Much pressure.
It's
I know.
all good.
I
It's
know.
all good. So basically, I llove what the Magdalen House is doing. I love a good 501c3. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
And you guys are a nonprofit. But what I like to do on the show is basically kind of go down the line and basically, hopefully, you tell your story, as much of it as you want. Like I said, you don't have to fourth step with me here, but and just tell me, where where it went wrong, where it went right, and what's working for you. And hopefully, you know, somebody out there listening, we inspire somebody. So who wants to go first?
You're looking at.
Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll get it out of the way.
Y'all are like the Chip and Dale on the Disney cartoon. No. After you. No. I insist.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ainsley, hit us with the hot fire.
Oh yeah. I don't know where to even start. You know, I guess I'll just start with a little bit of my background and kind of where I grew up and where I came from. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
I have an amazing family. I grew up with a great childhood.
Are you an OU fan, though?
OU, for sure. Yeah,
okay.
I know.
We'll let that slide.
Uh-oh.
But that's okay. It's
Okay,
okay.
that might be a problem. Yeah, I think like half of my family went to OU.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I had a pretty normal upbringing.
Sure.
You know, and we had problems, and there's been divorce in my family. But you know, who hasn't really gone through that? But I started drinking and doing drugs too when I was about 14.
Mm-hmm.
And never normally, I know a lot of people who started out as kind of normal drinkers and it progressed later into alcoholism. I was the kind of person that as soon as I picked up a drink,
You were just go for it.
it was,
right.
yeah. And, when I was 14, it was funny and I was having fun.
Yeah, look at cute little Ainsley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it just wasn't that big of a deal. Although, I did get in trouble and there were some consequences, but, I just thought I'll grow out of it. This is a moment in time.
It's a phase.
Yeah, I thought it was totally a phase. And I also just remember, I remember taking my first shot of vodka and feeling like this is it. Like I have found the thing, like this is my identity now.
Right.
I loved the way that it made me feel and I wanted that all the time.
Sure.
And so I didn't know, I knew that I couldn't control my drinking, but I thought it was just because I was young and all of that. So fast forward, a few years, I ended up moving to North Carolina with my dad and my stepmom. I think I was about 16 or 17 years old. And really I thought, if I change my environment and I start fresh and I can go somewhere where nobody knows me and just...
I love that one. Yeah. Just relocate,
so much
man.
hope, yeah.
You're going to leave all your problems behind.
Yeah,
right?
that I can just start over and no one will know all the bad things that I did before when I was drinking. And that, like most people, it didn't work for me.
Sure.
I always started these times where I would move somewhere new and get into this new environment and have all of this hope and feel like, okay, things are looking up. Like, this is going to be good. And it's like, before I knew it, I was spiraling.
Right.
And I remember the first time that anyone ever approached me about really having a problem was when I was 18 years old. And I remember sitting in the garage with my dad, and I had just been binge drinking that whole summer, my senior year of high school. And he was like, do you think
now binge drinking? Are we just talking weekend warrior stuff?
I mean, every day, all day.
Oh, so
yeah,
so,
like my life. Was
so your binge
drink.
was every day.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and
gotcha.
so, my dad approached me and was like, do you think you have a problem? Like, do you think you need to go get help? And my response was, absolutely not. I just need to get out of this small town. I need to go to college. Like, once I'm there, then I'll be okay.
Right. That's going to right the ship.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I did.
Nobody parties in college, right?
Yeah, because I know it's such like
perfect
delusional
logic.
thinking
Yeah.
that when I go to college, I'm gonna like chill out. No. And so, I went to college and same thing, I started there, a lot of hope. I was doing really well. I was making, pretty good grades. And then before I knew it, it was like, how did this happen again? Just spiraling out of control.
Sure.
And so I dropped out of college. I was trying to go back to school and I was kind of in and out, trying to figure my life out, and I think for that time in my life, like the one word I can use to describe who I was just lost. I didn't know who I was so unhappy. The only thing I knew to do.
And it sounded like you tried to hit that reset button several times.
So many times, yeah.
Sure.
And so, eventually I found myself, living in North Carolina. I had gone there to go to college. I had dropped out. Now I'm working at a gas station, and I can't pay my bills, and my roommates hate me, and I'm in all of this trouble. And my parents were like, we're getting you out of there. You've got to get out of there. And so, again, here I go. My parents at that time had moved to Texas. My dad came here for work. And so I was like, yeah, that's it.
Right.
I need to move. I need to start
Another relocation.
Yeah, I thought that this would be the time.
Sure.
This would be it. When I moved to Texas, that's when I think just getting a little bit older, and I started seeing people that I thought drank like me growing up, know, and it was a phase for them, and I couldn't get it together. And at that point, that's when I really started just hating myself. I became really depressed and suicidal, and I just hated myself.
Sure.
So I
well, you get on that like that treadmill, and then you're just like you get hopeless.
Yeah.
Is really what it is.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're here to inspire hope, by the way.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. So, let's see, I'm living in Dallas and thinking that things are going to get better. They don't. Wherever I went, no matter what I did or who I was with, my drinking continued to get worse and worse and worse, and I was constantly looking for this thing, what can I fix in my life that's going to make me so happy that I won't need to drink this way anymore?
Sure.
And so I tried to fix all of these things. I tried to move around. I tried to switch jobs. I tried to go to different schools. I tried different relationships, and nothing worked. Nothing was ever enough. And so eventually I got to the point where it became obvious to everybody around me and myself that it was out of control.
Sure.
I was completely out of control. I was miserable, and I had my first opportunity to go to detox and to treatment.
Okay.
And so
Now, did you try to get involved? Because I personally tried to do the old show up to an AA meeting drunk, style, and I did that for a while, but that didn't quite cut it for me. So, did you have any experience with AA prior to, or
No.
12 steps?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I got introduced to the 12 steps after going through treatment.
After
and
detox, okay.
Yeah, I had no interest in that.
Right. Well,
I was
course,
like, that's
yeah.
weird.
That's weird.
That's lame. I don't want to.
What is that cult about?
Yeah, because, and I didn't want to do something for a lifetime. I
Sure.
just wanted to go and detox and get fixed and move on with my life.
Right, exactly.
And just,
you're just healed like that. And
and just be a normal person.
What
Yeah.
it was being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
What is that?
No.
Yeah.
Forever? No.
Yeah, right.
So
did you did a medical detox?
I did,
Did
yeah.
you just do like a 10-day or?
So I went to a detox I think I was there for close to a week.
Okay.
And then I was supposed to go to treatment after.
Sure.
And the place that I went didn't offer like residential treatment. So, and basically my insurance was like, we're not covering any more of this. And so we kind of scrambled, where are we going to go? What am I going to do?
Right.
And actually, they threw out the Magdalen House to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, it's all women and it's 12-step bait. And I was like, no.
That's lame.
Yeah.
Women.
And,
Right.
and this girl that I went to treatment with was like, I know this other place, and it's, men and women. You can have your cell phone. They let you go places. And I was like, that's where I want to go.
Right.
That,
of course. Yeah.
that sounds fun.
You need your social avenues open.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I did that. I detoxed, and then I went into this other treatment center, and, looking back, I definitely wasn't there for the right reasons. I definitely was not ready to quit for good. I just wanted to get everybody off my back, and I wanted to
a little summer camp for
Yeah.
alcoholics.
Yeah.
Right?
I just needed to get away.
Right,
I used
yeah.
treatment as kind of a way to escape problems for a little bit
Sure.
too. And so I went to this rehab, and I was there for about a week. I was supposed to be there for 30 days. And I remember after a week, I called my mom and I said, I'm ready to go. You know,
Right.
this
Yeah,
is
I'm good. Yeah.
this is great. Like she was like, please stay, please stay.
All
And I
right.
was like, no, here's the thing. I don't even want to drink.
Right. Well, of course.
So
yeah.
if I don't want to drink, then I should be good, right? Like
Right.
I'm better. I don't even want to drink.
Right.
And plus I have an apartment I need to go home to. I have a dog. I have a boyfriend. I have all these things. I need to get back to my job. I need to go be a responsible person.
Right.
And so I did. I left. I left
you went a
treatment
little-
in the
you
middle
went-
of the night.
You went a little AMA on us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they, you know, I talked to a therapist there, and she was like, Ainsley, you know, please stay. You know,
Sure.
the things that you were doing, like you're a little person. I don't know if you're gonna survive.
Right.
And I was like, no. And at the time, like I wasn't lying. I truly thought I'm gonna be fine. I don't want to do this anymore. I've learned my lesson. I learned enough here, and now I'm ready to move on. I was drinking that night, you know. I went home, and
Even though you didn't want to.
even though I
you weren't
didn't want
cured.
to. Yeah. And a week later, I'm back in that same treatment facility
Yeah.
because it didn't take long for it to just, you know, get completely out of hand.
Yeah. It just went back to old habits real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. So I go back to treatment. This time I'm like serious, you
Okay.
know, I'm going to do it. I'm really committed. I finished the 30 days. I go into sober living. Like things are looking up. And I remember coming home from a meeting or something one day, and my roommate was, and I'm just miserable. Like I'm still sober, but I am so unhappy. Like I feel like I'm always on the verge of crying because I'm
Right.
just so uncomfortable all the time. And a roommate of mine was like, you need to get a sponsor and start working the steps. And I was like, where do I get that? What is this? And so
Right.
she referred me to somebody, and I started working with her, and she was amazing. But, you know, I got to a point where I felt like I don't really need to do this anymore. I'm feeling good. Life is good. I got my job back. You know, I didn't think that I would have to do this forever.
Right.
And so eventually I started drinking again. And it got to the point, you know, at the time I was working in a salon, and we served alcohol.
Nobody parties there.
No,
right?
yeah, and it's
Right.
really rare. Yeah, I'm one of a kind. And so I was working at a salon, and we served alcohol. And I remember this before I started drinking again, that I was clearing off, you know, people's wine glasses, and somebody didn't finish their wine, and I remember having to pour it down the sink and just crying.
Right.
I needed that drink so bad, and I
Sure.
knew everyone around me knew I was supposed to be sober, and it was painful.
Oh, yeah.
And so I finally had convinced myself, like, I don't need to be in sober living. I'm not like all these people I live with. I'm ready to move on. And so before I moved out, I started drinking again. And I knew if I get caught, I'm going to get kicked out. You know, I'll have nowhere to live.
Oh, yeah. And they UA and BA you all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
And so what happened is I started drinking again, and I started just planning my whole day and my whole life and everything around how am I going to be able to drink tonight, stay out of my sober living house with enough time to be able to come back, pass a drug test.
I need to get the
Take
daily
the drug
pass.
test, yeah,
I need to get the
pass it,
pass
yeah.
for, yeah. So it was still like I always, refer to, and a lot of people do, is their alcoholism as a job, because it really is. Like, I mean, all the planning that you have that goes into it, just a effing drink.
Yeah, it
I mean, yeah.
consumed every thought, you
Yeah.
know, whether it was thinking about, okay, what time am I going to be able to get my next drink? Am I going to have enough money? What time is the liquor
Right.
store closed? Like this thought of like, how am I going to get it? How am I going to get it? How am I going to get it and get away
Sure.
with it? Or what am I going to do today to not drink? Okay, I'm going
Right.
to keep myself so busy that I don't think about drinking. I'm going to start doing yoga. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to call somebody, all these things. And eventually, like, that just didn't work for me, and I drank again.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, you know, I said to myself, like, I'm going to go and have 3 drinks. That's it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to have 3. It felt like a good number. I don't know. And so I went out and I had 3 drinks at this bar with some friends from work. And then I was like, oh, that was great. Like, I did such a good job. And so I get in a cab to go back to my sober living house after having these 3 drinks. And this thought occurs, like, well, if I had 3, like, now I want more. And I have a friend that I went to rehab with, and I know he's drinking. And so, long story short, I end up, you know, chugging a handle of vodka in a motel room until I pass out, waking up in the morning,
And
rolling over and finishing
what
it.
was the random town, or was it in Dallas?
It was in Dallas. I think we were in, like,
I wound
Mesquite
up
or
in
something.
like Dime Box, Texas, in a motel, the Thunderbird Motel. And,
Yeah. And just waking up in the morning and going right after it again. And thinking after that, like, oh my God, like,
Right.
what have I done?
Sure.
This is not what I intended to do. I
Right.
just wanted to have a couple drinks, you know? And then I didn't stop then, you know, I ended up moving out of my sober living house and just staying with some friends and just drinking, you know, just that was it. That was all my life was. And I remember kind of getting to the point where it wasn't fun for a long time before this.
Sure.
But at this point, like, I had to drink to just walk out the door.
Yeah, just to physically function.
Yeah. I wasn't drinking to get drunk. I wasn't even drinking to feel good. Like, I was drinking to get normal.
Oh, yeah. Drinking, I always say drinking to right the ship.
Yeah. And so that's what would happen. You know, I'd wake up in the morning and I would do that. I just need to have, like, 1 shot to, you know, be
All right.
able to do this.
Sure.
And then before I'd know it, I'd be, you know, drunk at work
Right.
that same day. And I'm like, what happened? And so that kept happening over and over and over. And then the last night, I guess, of my drinking, I remember laying on the bathroom floor of this apartment I was staying in, and I am in tears, you know, sobbing. And I remember I'm drinking out of this bottle, and at the same time as I'm drinking, I'm thinking, I don't want to be doing this, and I'm still doing it. Like, I can't stop. And I thought, I'm losing my mind. Like, I am going crazy. What is this? Like, I am an insane person. And just crying on the floor and praying to God, like, I am too scared to kill myself, so just take me. Just in this for me.
That level of desperation is awful to be there.
And so it's like in that same moment, I called my mom and my poor mom. And my mom has a lot of education around alcoholism and addiction, and just from our family history. And so I called her and I was like, Mom, you know, what is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And she was like, you're an alcoholic. Not in a judgmental way,
Right.
not in a bad way. It was just like matter of fact, like, well, yeah, this is what it is. You're an alcoholic.
By the
And
way, in case you didn't know.
yeah, and it
You're
was
an
just like
alcoholic.
this light bulb went off, like,
Right.
oh my God, you know, I have this thing. Like, I don't know exactly
So
what
it
it is.
sounds like
but
you kind of like you like admitted to yourself, like at that moment you
Yeah.
finally realized that, okay, I am powerless over alcohol.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, I had my step 1 experience.
Yeah.
I realized, like, if I don't do something drastic, like, I'm going to do this forever. I'm going to drink no matter what, even when I don't want to. And when I start, I can't stop. And then I don't know what I'm going to do at that
Okay.
point, you know? And so the woman that had previously sponsored me actually worked at the Magdalen House. And
Okay.
so I called her that night and I said, what do I do? She said, call Maggie's. I said, okay. And that kind of started my journey of just saying, what do I do? Someone giving me instructions and me following them.
Sure.
So I picked up the phone. I called Maggie's. They approved me to come in. I went the next day. And so that's how I got involved at the Magdalen House, is I
right.
started my, real recovery journey through that house.
And it's all been unicorns and rainbows.
Oh yeah, it's been in the end, everything's been perfect. And that's so funny. Like I was thinking, I watched this movie the other day about kind of the treatment industry, but I was thinking like all these Hollywood movies about recovery just talk about like all the bad things that happened. This person, they're using or they're drinking, and then at the end of the movie they get sober and they're happy, and you're like, what did they do? Like, how did
yeah, they leave out all you actually have to live a life after sobriety, and you have to learn to deal with your problems sober, and stuff
how
like
do I do that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so I feel like that's kind of where the real story begins. It's like, what did I do and how did I get to this place
I want to put you on pause because we have to get to Stephanie because she's been a mic hog this whole time, But Steph, so let's hear your story if we can do it in about 15 minutes because I want to get to talking about the good stuff, which is Maggie's house and the Magdalen House. But let's hear your story.
All right. Well, my name is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
I feel like we're in a meeting.
And I've been sober since May 13, 2016, and that is absolutely a miracle.
Hold on, you just made me do math. So.
I just celebrated 5 years.
Okay, cool.
And Ainsley just celebrated, how many?
7 years.
7 years.
Nice.
Yes.
I like it.
And definitely a miracle. I never, ever thought that would happen. I started drinking when I was 12, which terrifies me because my daughter is 12.
Yeah.
And I remember after my first drink, I said, I never want to be sober again. And so from then on out, any opportunity I could, I drank. And at age 14, I started getting negative consequences as a direct result of my drinking. And what I didn't know at the time is like my body does not process alcohol normally. And so anytime I put alcohol in my body would demand more. And here I was thinking that I was just changing my mind every single time and I didn't have any willpower. And I remember being like 14, 15 years old, like writing in my diary being like, I'm not going to get wasted this weekend. I'm only going to have this much. I mean, that was like 14, 15
well, yeah,
years
that's
old.
normal. Like when
totally,
girls are writing stuff about Justin Bieber.
Yes. And every single time it did not happen.
Do you still have your diaries?
No.
Oh,
that would be cool.
I know, right? Oh my God. Because I wrote everything in there.
Right.
And so like that kind of continued until, I was thinking the first time anybody intervened on me, I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a freshman in college and I was like, everybody parties in college. And I kept going until I got pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
I was 19 when I got pregnant with my daughter and, I was able to stop drinking. And after she was born, like my whole life became centered around taking care of this perfect baby girl.
Right.
And I really didn't drink that much at all because all I cared about was taking care of her until her dad and I split up around 2 years old. And then all of a sudden I had like every other weekend and all this free time. And I did what any woman in their early 20s does that's single is I went to the bar.
Sure.
And it catched up really quick. And I will say that like I always get nervous sharing about stuff because a lot of it involves my daughter, and I'm like afraid that somehow the dance moms or PTA moms of Plano are going to catch me on here. But I would much rather give
But the thing is, and I love it that you guys are so open about this is, I mean, screw what people think about you. What if you help somebody?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's the bottom line for me. And the thing is the CDC, says that alcohol, it classifies it as a disease.
Absolutely.
So if we can't talk about our cancer, our version of cancer, then.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, I would much, much rather give hope to a mother.
There you go.
And let her know that she's not a terrible mother, that she's sick and she can get better, than have someone who
maybe one of those soccer moms. Maybe one of those soccer moms is going to walk up to you and go, "Hey, Stephanie, how do you do it?"
Well, you know, I will say too, I'm glad that you brought that up because I started using, like, my addiction really took off after her dad and I split up, and I discovered prescription amphetamine pills. And I took that because I wanted to be a superstar mom.
Dude,
I wanted to be
speed and alcohol.
Yeah,
is a great,
I wanted to be the superstar mom. I wanted to stay thin, and so in my mind, it was like I have to do these things if I want to be a good mom.
Right.
You know, and at first it worked for a little bit, and then it.
Stephanie, you have the cleanest house on the block.
Yeah, no, I know. And we had arts and crafts. I mean, it was on, okay?
Right.
And my daughter will still be like, Mom, remember when we had stations? I was like, yeah, I was super high. And so, that's really why I started,
Sure.
And after a while, it got really, really bad. And, to speed things up, I started trying to get sober at 22. I didn't get sober until I was 27. And I really thought that I was going to be able to stop for my daughter. I was super judgmental of moms who had lost their kids or anything like that, thinking they must not love their kids. How can you not stop for your kids? And then I learned the hard way that, like, those women didn't have a choice. Like, I didn't have a choice. It wasn't that I loved my daughter any less. Like, I was going to pick up no matter what. And there was no consequence that was enough to make me stop and stay stopped. And so, it got to the point where my daughter's 5 years old and she's coming downstairs in the morning and she sees her mom passed out with a bottle of wine and a bottle of pills, and she's having to take care of her mom.
How old is she?
5.
5. Wow.
Yeah, she's in kindergarten.
Yeah.
The sweetest little girl.
Yeah.
And so her dad has to come get her because I can't take care of her. I mean, at this point, I'm going without electricity at times, going without food at times, selling everything that I own because I'm not working and can't hold a job. I give props to people who can be quote unquote functioning alcoholics.
Oh, yeah.
That is not me.
Right.
I am not functioning. I go down quick, and I'm grateful for that today. But so, her dad comes and gets her and takes her to Texas, and I'm so grateful for that today. Because he saved her and he protected her, and
right. And you didn't intentionally put her in a bad environment.
No,
you were just in a spot where you had no control over the
Absolutely,
substance.
yeah.
All, yeah.
Like I have a mind that tells me that, like, oh, it's okay. You're going to take this prescription as prescribed this time. You're only going to have one glass of wine, and I believed it, like, we're not in denial. We're in delusion. Like, we actually believe this stuff. And
hold on. Let me process that. We're not in Okay. Got it. I just
and so, her dad takes her, and I do want to mention this part. I was in an abusive relationship, and the relationship got pretty bad. And the reason why I bring this up is because there was one night where I came to, and I was like, I'm never going to see my daughter again, because I'm going to die. I'm going to die in this relationship. And I was like, God, if you let me live, I will leave him. And so that night, I left. I escaped for, like, the last time. And after a series of circumstances, I got a one-way ticket on a megabus with one bag packed and headed to Dallas. I had no idea what I was going to do when I got here. I didn't know anyone. I just knew that, like, if I stayed...
Where were you coming from?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I just knew that if I stayed there, I was going to die and I was never going to see my daughter again.
Right.
And so, like, that was, up to that point, like, the scariest thing I've ever done. And I say that because I could leave an abusive relationship after time, get on a megabus, and go to a city that I've never been before, knowing nobody, knowing nowhere I was going to live, because I was afraid of never seeing my daughter again. But I couldn't stop drinking and using for my daughter.
Sure.
Like, and so that's how powerless I was over this thing. And so, what started off as the, wanting to be superstar mom ends up homeless with no shoes, in and out of psych wards, Green Oaks alumni right here. And not seeing my daughter, and, doing drugs I never thought I would do, being in places I never thought I would be. and to where I finally, end up at the 24-hour club. That's where I got sober in the old building.
Right, and shout out to the 24-hour club on Ross.
Yes,
and I love the Hubcap Cafe.
Nice.
They have a killer quesadilla. So.
And
really good
pancakes.
Oh yeah, and pancakes.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're great.
Yeah.
So anyway, shout out to them.
Yes, and I remember getting there, like after being homeless and everything, like that place was paradise, right?
How did you find the 24-hour club if you're just wandering around? Somebody goes.
Well,
hey,
I mean, there was like I got here in January. I didn't get sober until May, so I had experience between
a window of
there.
exploration.
Yeah, and I. Poor Tinder guys that I took advantage of. And so, I
That's a different show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And I did a lot of exploration, and somehow I ended up at Turtle Creek back whenever they took women. And for some reason, Turtle Creek wouldn't take me. I think this was after another suicide attempt or something. They transferred me over to Turtle Creek, and they couldn't take me at Turtle Creek. And somebody was like, hey, I'm going to this place called the 24-Hour Club. Do you want to go? Mm-hmm. I was like, okay.
Sure.
I don't have any money. Right. I have nothing. All these other sober livings, they want money. Mm-hmm. I don't know what drug addict has money, not me.
Yeah, right.
And so I went there, and luckily they let me in with nothing. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy to be there. They let me shop in the clothes closet. They gave me a toothbrush. They let me brush my teeth. They let me take a shower. Everyone was laughing. They were talking about this obsession being removed, and I knew nothing of the obsession being removed. I knew nothing of being happy in sobriety. And that's what gave me hope for the first time.
Sure.
But since my ego regenerates very quickly, I forgot about being homeless and everything, and got drunk a week later.
Right.
But after that, it was one day, I remember the program manager coming in. He said, Stephanie, if you can stay sober for 72 hours, we'll keep your bed. And I just started crying. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can stay sober for 72 hours. And that was like the first time that I was really honest. I knew that I wanted to, but I didn't know if I could. And
well, I think we all want to at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say, like, whenever people, God bless them, that don't understand alcoholism, they're like, you just got to really want it. I was like, okay.
I mean, look
I don't want to be homeless.
I don't, right. And I don't take anything away from that. I mean, will and desire plays a part in my sobriety because I do get tested, but that's just not it. It's not willpower.
Much more. Yeah, absolutely.
If willpower was enough, we wouldn't all be.
Yeah. We wouldn't be in this room right now.
Right.
Exactly. And so I know that was like whenever I remember he said to me, Stephanie, that breaks my heart because this is a beautiful life. Mm-hmm. And like that is what spoke to me because I knew nothing of a beautiful life. Mm-hmm. I was lost. I was lonely. I was miserable. And I didn't care about sobriety if I had to be miserable. Like, tell me that I don't have to live this way anymore. Mm-hmm. And he told me that I didn't have to, and I knew that he meant it. And that's what started my journey off over 5 years ago, and here I am
That's great.
Today.
No, but I mean, that's great. And then, so you went to 24-Hour Club, and then how did you merge paths with Maggie's House?
So after I got sober, and I just kind of moved on with my life, and I, created a great life for my daughter and for myself, and they started opening up the new building. And so I got a phone call asking if I would come work for them, and I said, absolutely, that's amazing. And then I got pregnant with my son, and so I decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so that's what I did. So I quit working there. And some things happened because, like we already talked about, life does happen in sobriety.
Sure.
And I found myself to be in a situation to where I was a single mom again, not knowing where I was going to live and all this other stuff. And I'm freaking out, being like, what am I going to do? Right. But I knew that God always took care of me, and it was going to work out. And when one day I'm just searching for jobs, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm not going to work anywhere where I want to work. And I get text message from Chloe saying, "Are you still looking for a job?" And I was like, "Yes."
Right.
And I went and I interviewed with Ainsley and Chloe, and I'm so grateful.
That's so cool, man.
It was. I love my job.
Well, I am
amazing
so glad
organization.
you're not homeless again.
I know, right? You know, my ego though, it can I'll be like, my apartment's too small,
Right.
and it's like,
Wait,
girl,
remember?
6 years ago, you didn't have an apartment, and you were homeless. You know, it's
You
just
were on
funny.
you were on a bus from
Yes.
St. Louis to Dallas.
Mega
and,
bus at
yeah,
that.
a mega bus. You gotta. Isn't that like what they take to casinos or something?
I don't know. I'll never get on one again, God willing.
Right. Well, so okay, so I love that y'all have you know, that background, and thank you for sharing that with everybody here. But let's talk about the Magdalen House, which I'm going to go ahead and give their website or web address out, which is the magdalenhouse.org, or not the magdalenhouse.org, magdalenhouse.org, correct?
Yes.
And that is MAGDALEN house.org. And then I mean, if you look up the Magdalen House, you'll probably see y'all's podcast as well, right?
Yes. So if you search on our website, if you go to our website, we do have a page for our
link
podcast.
for it. Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Yes. Yes.
So, but let's talk about it. I mean, okay, you know, it's funny that you say, because there are certain sober, you know, like the nonprofits that are strictly guys, strictly girls, strictly guys, which I think is cool, because honestly, you know, when it is just men or just women, you have a more of a chance to focus on, you know, your sobriety and what you're there for, than oh my God, I got to do my hair because the hot guy is going to be at this guy and at this meeting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Maggie's House is about, it's an organization for alcoholic women.
Yes.
Now, is it okay if they're polys? I mean, as long as alcohol is their main focus, or can they also have, you know, other addictions like CA or like cocaine or anything like that? Or what's the skinny?
Well, so I will let Ainsley answer that question about social detox, and then I'll talk about it for next step.
Okay.
Yeah, because we do have, you know, we have two programs, and for social detox, which is, you know, the first one that normally people come into, but they don't have to come into that first. Your primary addiction has to be alcohol. So the number one thing that you go to is alcohol, and reason being, you know, that's what we talk about. You know, we provide an environment where everyone's coming in with the same problem. Whatever your background is or where you're coming from, we all have this one thing in common. And also, you know, the detox from that. We can tailor our program to this.
Now, do y'all actually do a medical detox, or is it just a...
We do not.
Okay,
yeah. So, and that's a really good question. So we have a social detox.
I did good.
Yeah, good job. Just meaning that we don't do medical. We
right.
do
Y'all
not,
leave that up to the professional. Tell them to go to maybe Presby or somewhere like that.
Yeah. So before anyone comes, they have to do a phone screening. And through that, we'll be able to determine if they are a good fit, you know, really physically for the social detox program, because we don't do detox medications.
Right.
We don't have a medical staff. What we do is, you know, we'll give them fluids, we'll take their blood pressure, we'll check on them, we'll make sure they're safe. But we kind of do it the old-fashioned way. And so, yes, alcohol being the primary addiction, because that's how we know how to deal with a detox from that.
Right, and that's why you say a social detox, not a medical
exactly.
detox. Got it.
And so, yeah, I think that was all I was going to say about that. And then for the next step.
Yes. So for the Next Step program, it's the same thing in the sense that, you know, your primary does have to be alcohol, but since we're not detoxing and we're outpatient, we don't have as strict of a phone screen process as social detox, because at this point we're not detoxing off anything. But the primary does definitely have to be alcohol.
Okay. So, and then y'all also have inpatient as well, right? Or on site, or did I just totally miss that?
Well, the social detox would be considered inpatient or our residential program.
Residential,
Yeah. And
that's
then,
the word I was looking for.
And then next up is our non-residential program, which, by the way, all of our programs are no cost.
Right,
So,
and I love that. I mean,
yes.
it's totally free, you know, if you qualify. And also, you were saying, I know the current house is on Gaston, but then you were saying something about a new house. Isn't there a new house coming up?
So the new house is the one on Gaston. Yeah.
Okay.
So we just moved in there.
Way to do your research, Kelly.
That's okay. We just moved in a few months ago, so it's still really new to us. And
Okay. Well, it's new to me.
Yeah. We were located right by White Rock Lake in the Arboretum in East Dallas.
Right.
We'd been in that house since like the mid-90s, I think, and we've been around since 1987. But we just moved into the new house on Gaston, and it's just amazing. We're so excited to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely beautiful. You know, our executive director, Lisa Kroenke, she had this vision that I think is absolutely amazing, that alcoholic women get pushed to the side and get pushed to the curb too many times, and that we all deserve to recover with grace and dignity. And so that means a beautiful place, a beautiful home where people can walk in and they can feel like they haven't been pushed to the curb. Yeah. And it is absolutely amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I actually saw like on the website. I mean, it's a beautiful facility. I'm like, I might go trans just so I can get in there if I ever decide to relapse.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen.
I'm just kidding. Just joking. But so if anybody wants to, do you have the phone number memorized? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what's the best way if somebody's looking for help to see if they qualify? What's the best way to reach out to you guys or to admissions?
Yeah, so for Social Detox, you would just need to call 214-324-9261. And then we do...
Again?
214-324-9261.
Yeah, that's for the people just listening. I have to do that. So.
No, I feel like a commercial.
Yeah, right.
And we do screenings 7 days a week. We do admissions 7 days a week. The screening process is really quick, so you should know that day if you qualify to come in. And then you should be able to come even as soon as that day if you can make it then.
Well, cool.
And then Next Step has a different number. I don't have it memorized, but
put you on the spot.
I know. Well, the 214 number is you can call that, and we will direct
connect you.
Our phone systems are connected, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you you guys coming on and sharing, and definitely want them to listen to your podcast as well, because I know how tough it is to get one going, and you're saying all this good stuff and you're spitting fire, and then it's like, oh, nobody's listening to me. But I mean, like I said, if you can just help one person, I think it's good, and I love it that y'all are in the industry of helping people. So if you haven't heard it in a while, thank you for what you do.
Oh,
thank you too.
Yeah.
But let me go ahead and hit my sponsor real quick, which is summersky.us, and that is 888-857-8857. Once again, that is summersky.us. 888-857-8857. They are in lovely Stephenville, Texas, in the middle of nowhere, where you can get sober.
Awesome.
So anyway, but it worked for me. Real quick, Brett, hit the shirts if you can, sir. There that was not a picture. That was Dusty. We had on Dusty Burrows last week, and there was a picture of him with a possum. That was not an inappropriate picture, if you were wondering. But yeah, standard shirt, which I have for you guys.
Oh, cool.
And then the chair one and the rainbow one. But anyway, so all that out of the way, anything else y'all wanted to get to? Am I missing anything? Did we not plug anything?
Well, I do want to mention that we are all about more than just staying sober. We don't believe that sobriety is enough. So what we like to do is we want to see women thrive. We want to see them, live a life where they can be free of alcohol, where they don't have to avoid people, places, and things, and and avoid triggers where they can be free and go anywhere a free person can go and really thrive in their recovery and thrive in their life.
And I love that because it's like people just look at it as, oh, if I could only get sober. And it's not just that. I mean, there are people that just get sober. I'm not saying that can't happen.
Right.
But it's really what you do after that and what you do to maintain your sobriety and work your program, whatever that might be. I mean, if it's just, if it's a community like Maggie's house, or if it's, whatever your 12-step group is, or if it's a combination. I'm just like, more the merrier. Give it to me. I'll put it's a tool in my toolbox. If I use it, cool. If I don't, then it's still there.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I was just gonna tag on to what you were saying. I feel like I talked a lot about the crappy part about alcoholism, which is if anybody knows an alcoholic, that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to be able to give hope that there is a way to be sober and happy and not wake up in the morning and try to not drink. What we can do at Maggie's, the Magdalen House, is really give a lifelong solution.
Sure.
That you can live free and happy and rebuild relationships and live this really amazing life. And it takes work and you do stuff every day, but the work becomes
not I have to, but I get to.
This
Right.
amazing purpose that you have
Well,
and
what
helping other people.
what you're saying is the work becomes your life.
Yeah,
And you
definitely.
get to enjoy your
And a
life.
beautiful
what
life
you
at
put
that.
Yeah.
What you put into it,
Yeah.
you get out of it. And if you don't watch it, that the efforts will creep back up on you, because I've heard that we've had that discussion on the show many a time.
Yeah.
So. But, I want to thank you guys for coming out. Any personal shout-outs? I know y'all have family and kids, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I doubt my kids are watching.
But-
But
Mine's 2.5, so she's
Yeah.
for sure.
Cadence, Wesley, Mommy loves you.
There you go.
But that's all I got.
Yeah.
This
Yours
one's
is-
married over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Brian's working. I don't think he's watching, but if he is,
He will at some point. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but thank you guys for coming out. Like I said, if you want to listen to their podcast, it's the Magdalen House, and that's on any of the major formats. Also, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is thispinkcloud.com. And I can't thank y'all enough for coming out. Y'all have been a pleasure.
Thank you
I'd
so
love
much.
if y'all have any events coming up in the future. Definitely let me know, because I like to plug, current events and stay fun and unite the tribes is like what I like to do, or so to speak. But thanks again for coming out. And then, Brett, I guess we'll wrap it up here with, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Drop a bomb.